everybody. Did you ever have that day when we're at a family reunion and that old uncle starts going in like Eddie out of Christmas Vacation? And he walks up and says, these three guys walk into a bar. I happen to know those three guys. My name is Stu Turley, President CEO of the Sandstone Group, and we are here at the Flying Saucer in Fort Worth. I got RT Trevino. How are you today, RT?
Oh, man, I'm doing real well. I cannot complain. It's another great day, and the weather seems to be working in our favor today.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, RT, you got the Crude Truth. It's doing phenomenal. We're having fun. You look good, too.
Thank you. Trying to keep up with you two guys.
I don't know about that. I got a nice
man. We're quick
looking head. And we have also the David Blackman. I mean, I just want to stalk this guy. He's got so much knowledge out there. And David Blackman is a Forbes, Telegraph, and Daily Caller contributor. And he's got his own, the Energy Question. And he's also on the Energy Transition that's out of Brazil, Dallas, the UK, and Bulgaria, and he's got a great team on there. Thank you very much, David. Welcome.
Happy to be here, boys.
All right. Hey, David, let's go ahead and kick it off to David first. And
sounds good.
And David, you got a couple things, but I want to give you a shout out. You just had a great podcast kick out today. What was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Megan Lapp. Oh, man, you guys got to watch this podcast, everybody.
She knows
on the energy question. She is an advocate for commercial fishing in the Northeast. She is a dynamo, and she knows all about the whale issue with big wind, offshore wind, and how the offshore wind farms that are being built off the Northeast coast are going to decimate the commercial fishing industry that supplies our country with cod and all manner of other fish species. These wind farms being built in what is known as, and what the government, the federal government, knows to be a migration superhighway for a variety of whale species. And that's why all these whales have been washing up on the coast of New Jersey and New York over the past 8 months. And it is a fantastic episode of the podcast. I'll be writing a story about it as well. And man, it's just a tragic situation out there.
I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, Dave, but just real quick. It turns out she's got a great study on the sonar when they're doing sonar mapping for the wind farms.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal problem when you blow their ears out and they start dying immediately afterwards. Unbelievable. She's an
I mean, whales can't detect shipping around them. I mean, these are big shipping lanes, and the whales detect ships traffic by hearing. And when the seismic surveys blow their hearing out, well, they can't. They don't know that a ship's coming, and they end up getting caught in the props. And anyway, right. It's horrible. It's just an awful situation, and our government is allowing it to happen. They know it's happening and is doing nothing about it.
And you know, it's sad. Energy hypocrisy and fiscal financial hypocrisy is at play. And it just makes me airsick, you know, when you sit back and kind of go, it's okay to kill thousands and thousands of migratory birds. It's okay to go ahead and kill one of the greatest animals on the planet, and they're an important piece of our whole ecological society. And then go through and then go, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And folks, if you're in Louisiana and Texas, they're about to start building a big wind farm out in the Gulf of Mexico that's right in the middle of a migratory bird superhighway where more than 3 billion birds go through this corridor. 3 billion from 372 different migratory bird species every year go through this corridor in the Gulf of Mexico, and they're about to put a giant wind farm up right in the middle of it. It's despicable. It's the most disgusting thing that's happening in the energy space right now.
And yet they're worried about the little lizard in West Texas, you know?
Right.
I mean, if it's like Sue just said, if this isn't hypocrisy, I don't know what is. Yeah. You know, here we're talking about the whales, but what about all the commercial fishing that goes on in these same areas and how that may be affected?
Yeah.
So there's so much to these wind farms that are green and environmental friendly, that yet they're just overlooking all the regulations to get this going. So
They
it's
are.
just a
Yeah.
shame. So definitely that's something I know I'm going to reshare out on socials, is your interview with Megan Lapp. She's been on Fox, Newsmax, Spectrum News. I think she's even been on MSNBC or CNN. I mean, she's been all over.
And she's got a
Yeah.
pedigree. Also, she was testifying in front of Congress. Holy smokes.
Yep, and her testimony is a truly compelling document that I forgot to attach to the show notes. I need to get it out there when we're done here.
We can add those out and, get those back out in the Substack. Oh, wait, you can edit your own Substack.
Yeah. Exactly.
For any listeners that are out there, his Substack is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay. Hey, what about the BP? Tell us about BP.
Yeah, that's huge. What's going on over there? We didn't like. I wake up this morning, all of a sudden stocks going all over the place for BP. What's going on?
I haven't looked at it, but yeah, they fired their CEO, Bernard Looney. Well, he resigned, in corporate speak. The board did an investigation. It took them over a year to find out, I guess. An investigation that began in mid-2022. They figured out that he hadn't been completely and fully honest with them about his, quote, past relationships within the BP organization. He's been there a long time. It's an obvious situation where the board wanted to get rid of him and was looking for a reason, and they found it. And, obviously, he's a guy who's been pretty controversial when he came on board as CEO. He was promoted to CEO from within the organization in 2020. He immediately announced he was going to focus the company on ESG and renewables, and tried that for a couple of years. Didn't work out. The company was losing ground with its competitors. And so early this year, he announced he's going to refocus on the core oil and gas business. And that obviously, I think, didn't sit well with many members of the board. And so here we are. He's gone.
Cool. Hey, RT, you had a thing on lithium. Speaking of lithium,
Well, yes.
are you taking lithium for your mental problem?
No, nothing like that.
Did the test come back positive?
They came back inclusive.
Oh,
They came back inclusive.
He's still contagious, folks.
No, but before we jump on, I find it interesting that here we are in an age where what happened to this gentleman at BP is happening all over. It's like, let's go back, dig up, and find a reason. Like, they're not even blaming the performance really on him, are they, David?
Well, not publicly, yeah.
Right. And now, is he the one that went for the switch to ESG, or was that kind of a whole that went heavy ESG last year?
Well, in 2020, he embarked on this big program of investing in renewables. BP has invested a lot in solar and wind projects that haven't been profitable. Early this year, he announced they were going to move away from that, refocused on drilling and finding oil and gas. And I suspect that once they announce their replacement, soon after that, the replacement will announce they're going back to the ESG route. That's been BP's history. And I suspect we're just going through another part of that cycle.
David, do you think a company the size of a BP or a Chevron, can they survive on subsidies alone?
No. But they can make a profit. They can make these things profitable. ExxonMobil's.
Right.
I'm predicting that in 5 years, ExxonMobil's low carbon ventures business unit will be the most profitable business unit in its portfolio.
Wow.
And it's mainly going to be engaged in hydrogen and carbon capture projects. ExxonMobil knows how to make these things profitable better than any company on earth. And
right.
I'm going to step in here because this brings up a great point with Saudi Arabia, and we'll come back to the lithium because that's important.
Yes.
MBS and a couple of the other Saudi leaders this week came out and said that this is a war And he said that he wanted to make sure that Saudi Arabia took over the UK and the EU as more important for business than anywhere else in the world. He says
What do
the
you
West,
mean? What do you mean took over? What do you mean by that?
the balance of power for trade and business
Oh, okay. So
to Saudi Arabia, and he said this is a war for the power of business. You got to admit he's doing it, but they're doing it in a balanced approach, David. I mean, they're using oil and gas to fund everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and they joined BRICS. That's part of that effort. Because BRICS provides so much global geopolitical leverage,
right,
its member countries that they don't have alone in a vacuum. And the U.S., it can't be emphasized enough that the Biden administration pulled out all stops to convince the Saudis not to join BRICS. So that's a slap in the face to the United States. And it's a real sad commentary on America's lack of diplomatic prowess in the world today.
Well, let me ask you this, guys, and I don't know if this is too far out there or not, and maybe I feel a little bit more comfortable asking since David's not here and can't wrap me upside the head when I ask a dumb question.
David, I'll do it for you.
With this administration and all the accusations that we have, accusations
Oh, okay.
with a lot of people that are part of BRICS, could you see the United States joining BRICS at any time?
Not in this administration, no. I suppose that could be possible in the future someday, but right now America's got all of its eggs in the G7, G20 basket, and of course, Saudi Arabia is part of the G20, but not the G7. And China and Russia are part of the G20 as well.
Right.
The G7 is really the focus of the United States because it's so intertwined with NATO.
Gotcha.
Now, what do you think about China and Russia not showing up? Because it wasn't that a big power statement. I've heard that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think it was a power move on their part not to show up. I mean, they are two of the larger economies in the world. And, as they're combining, that's even a bigger energy, or not energy, a bigger economy. And I want to highlight again to all our listeners and viewers out there what BRICS stands for. It's for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Got to correct myself. I went back and listened to our awesome C-SPAN live interview, and I accidentally said South Africa or South America. Okay, yeah. And unfortunately, there's enough references out there where I've always said South Africa, but for some reason during that interview, I said South America.
And I couldn't reach through the
Well, I never have a brain fart like that myself. So.
Well, I'm trying. I'm hoping that as I get older and wiser like you two, maybe I won't have any of those brain farts, right?
That depends. I wear mine, and so does Biden.
Yeah, I mean, they follow me around like a dark cloud, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say this, as we were talking about Saudi Arabia and this balanced approach, let's talk about America and maybe trying to take a true balanced approach to finding alternative energy sources. And that is that I had a great article on my Substack this week talking about the potential of a large lithium mine that has been found near Oregon, I think Nevada-Oregon border.
Right, in a caldera there.
Yes, and before we go on, I'm not against any other forms of energy. Like, yes, I produce oil. I am for inexpensive, reliable, and abundant energy, and that's also going to be truly eco-friendly. So, I haven't found one form of energy that's truly 100% green. But this lithium mine that they have said they have found, based off the geology, I mean, what a game changer that truly could be for us, not only in America but around the world, because they're estimating it could be one of the largest lithium deposits in the world.
Right. But David, you've talked about it before where it was 30 years to get a mine open, right? I mean, whatever number.
It's, that in extreme instance, yeah, but I mean, So I've written a couple of pieces now about a lithium mine in Nevada who has been working now for well over a decade just to try to get their federal permits in place for a mine that has existed for 60 years, but it was a gold mine originally. It's known to contain pretty significant stores of lithium inside it. And the environmental groups, the same environmental groups who are pushing the energy transition, are fighting to prevent that mine from being open. And you can bet they'll fight against this mine as well, and any other mine that gets proposed. And it'll take 10, 15 years. That's an optimistic assessment. From the time a discovery is made until you can actually break ground on a mine will be 10 to 15 years. But the Biden administration wants all of us to be driving electric vehicles 7 years from now.
It won't happen.
Something that, I mean, this timeline just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
You can't speed up that process somehow.
Well, speaking of that timeline, didn't the IEA just come up with that we're going to hit peak oil in 2030? And what a coincidence. Isn't that when they want us to all be driving electric cars is in 2030?
And the WEF wants us all to be like wearing a uniform and know property by then.
I have a uniform, burnt orange and white. I break it out every year after we beat Alabama, which of course.
Every year after they beat Alabama.
Yeah.
So David, and
while.
if you're out there breaking ground in a mine, if they open up a new wind farm, do they break wind? I'm just asking, what's the technical term for breaking wind? I mean, breaking up.
So, yeah.
Hey, Dave, do you know that UT's playing TCU here this year in Fort Worth?
Yes, I do know that.
That could be a good game, sir. Could be a good game.
It'll be a lot better game than we want it to be. Yeah.
Well, RT, I'm so proud of you for putting together the NAPE stuff. We got an exciting NAPE going on.
Oh, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're going to chat about that for a minute.
Oh, man, I know. I'm excited. It's a group effort. I mean, I'm excited.
We got got new gear, got lots of new gear. We're going to have 4 booths all lined up. Tell us what you got rolling.
Oh, man, I'm just so excited that with partnership with the Sandstone Media Group and along with the Energy Question and Energy Newsbeat, that the Crude Truth, we're going to be able to host one of the premier podcast pavilions at the NAPE Expo this year, which is February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. And I'm just so excited to have you two there because we plan on having some phenomenal guests and we'll start rolling those out. And fortunately, with a gentleman like David Blackman on our team, God knows that we can definitely get some top tier guests. Not that the Crude Truth hasn't had their own, so I shouldn't say that totally because God knows I've been very blessed, and so is the Energy Newsbeat. But I always say that I think with David Blackman, it adds a little bit of that respectability to ourselves.
See, I'm the kid when I was growing up. I had the pork chop hanging around my neck so the dog would play with it. That's the same thing, I kind of troll behind you guys and get a podcast. They feel sorry for me.
But no, I mean, I just think it's going to be awesome. We hopefully going to have some pretty good, and again, we're rolling out, but I expect to have some pretty good guests, and I'm going to call them live podcasts at our booths during NAPE with some great names. David will be hosting those. Shoot, I'm even hoping we can even host our 3 podcasters from that same booth during the event, and then also probably even do some quiet off to the side podcasting for great companies that are going to be there, right. and be able to grab some individuals from the floor itself.
And David, we're going to have a producer there. You won't have to touch anything mechanical or electronic.
That's a good thing, man. You don't want me touching anything.
And RT, you're going to have to be kept off of the volume switch.
Yes, yeah. Don't bring me. Yeah, don't let me touch any of it.
No, and me, I'm a handicap. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a whole lot.
And who at NAPE are we trying to help out with?
Oh my goodness! Trying to help out with everybody over there. We got Leanne over there, Callahan, with the NAPE Expo, and the president of the AAPL, and then Drew Gunchert, who is the director of NAPE. who are just, continuing to build a phenomenal show. I mean, I want to go back to last year's, and we had that Snowmageddon again. And, David was headlining on the first day, and there were already 8,000 people there for that first morning, and they said that was one of the
just to
biggest.
see me, yeah.
Yes, but what I'm saying is for the first morning, that was the biggest morning they'd ever had for a first time in the morning, and we had those bad storms because I couldn't even make it last
Isn't
year.
that great? Good job, David.
And I think
it's a fantastic event. Yeah.
now, are you going to be moderating again? I believe, or no? Don't know yet.
They haven't contacted me. I was on a panel discussion last year with Doug Sheridan, and it was moderated by Ed Crooks, who's fantastic. Both those guys just tremendously knowledgeable. It was a great discussion, and we had a good time. And it's always NAPE is always it's one of the best premier events for the industry every year in Houston, and takes place about a month before the Sierra Week conference, and so that's a big time of year for conferences in Houston. So we were just a little unlucky with the weather last year. Hopefully it'll be better this year.
Hey, David, I want to flip one other thing. Speaking of energy hypocrisy, and by the way, great job on getting that NAPE interview out. Great job.
Oh, thank you.
On the energy hypocrisy, your group, Armando, Tammy, and Irina, and you had a great discussion about the weirdness going on in the UK. Oh my goodness, that was phenomenal. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten that posted up on my Substack yet. I need to do that. I'm gonna get it posted up in the morning. It's been a really busy week. But yeah, in the UK, they're about to pass the Conservative Party in the UK is about to pass an energy bill that's 450 pages long, and it's designed to control every aspect of human behavior in Great Britain. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's going to force people to replace their air conditioning units with heat pumps. It's going to force everyone to have a smart thermostat in their homes so the government can control their energy use. It's going to force adoption of of a bunch of other things that people don't have. I don't know how anyone in the UK is going to afford it all other than the ultra wealthy people there. And this is the Conservative Party doing this.
I don't get it.
We could be seeing another mass exodus from Europe back to America here real soon.
If we don't watch it, it's coming here.
Yes.
I also saw another, after I saw yours, I had to go do my nosing around and try to find some stuff. They have in that from the Conservative Party that they can come in and force their way into your house now. So they have it in there that you cannot refuse them coming in and putting it in. And then I had another contact in the UK that they are saying that those thermostats are using have sensors in them with microphones.
Now we're getting a conspiracy a little bit there.
But, I mean, telling you, but the article that I just found said they can come in legally and handcuff you if you don't allow them in to put those thermostats in. I'm not kidding.
We'll see how this thing goes.
I'll shoot you guys the articles.
Oh, let's put that one in the notes below, as you like to say.
In the notes below.
Hey, David, I want to do one more shameless plug for you, if that's okay, because I know,
Oh, I love those. Yeah,
I know, but it's for a group that Pecos Country Operating is part of, which is the Texas Alliance of Energy Producers, with our good friend Jason Modulin. But you are going to be moderating at the Texas Alliance annual conference here in Fort Worth at the Drover Hotel. I'm going to be moderating a great panel during that, and that's going to be October 4th and 5th. So if anybody out there that's listening wants to register for that event also, please do. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure of all the details yet, but I'm going to be moderating the whole program, I guess, on the evening of the 4th. And
yes,
it'll be great, man. I love those guys. Jason's a good friend. Known him for a long time, one of the great people and one of the great leaders of the industry in Texas. So happy. I was really honored that they would ask me to do that.
He's gonna get mad, but I'm gonna say Modulin in 2028 Texas governor. There, I said it.
Right.
He's gonna get mad
I'm all
when
over
he
that.
gets that.
Is he going to be here
Yeah.
tonight?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I
'Cause I'm
know.
gonna leave before that.
But yeah, no. So I just wanted to do the real quick little shameless plug for you there. Excited to hear you be moderating that event as well.
And
It's always fun to be at that event. It's the Alliance is a great association. They do fantastic work in Austin.
Very.
hey, RT, I want to give you congratulations on your weld. I mean, holy smokes, that thing's pumping oil like you wouldn't believe. Isn't that cool?
Drill a good one.
Yeah, we drilled a very good one. We can't complain. Thank you. So,
Awesome.
yeah. No, we've
I'll
been
wait for that kickback override
No,
stuff.
I got you. You know I got you. And no, come on, we do very good work, and this one just happened to be above average.
Oh, you bet.
And so we've been doing okay.
Awesome.
Hey, David, I want to give RT a shout out here. I had an emergency interview I had to do over at Jeff Crilly's. And I mean, I was like, where do I go? Or anything. And he goes, I know people. Within an hour, I've got a great room. And when it was a wonderful with Dan from Combo Curve.
Combo curve, yes.
Unbelievable. That's how you drill those good wells.
Well, combo curve is some great stuff. The financials that combo curve can help, those financial projections that they do are, well, I got to type in, they've got the software to do it, but
Right.
with our data and being able to put it in, we've really been able to dodge some bullets. And because of this project right here, really been able to see how we're doing, and knock on wood, we've done very well with combo curve. So I guess, a cheap, shameless plug for them.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody out there, any E&P companies aren't using combo curve, take a good look. I mean, a lot of the big families are using their stuff. And so are the small families, and I really recommend it very, very much. So
I'm going to step on everybody's toes. A shameless plug for Sandstone. If you've got it and you are not sure and you're an EMP and you want to know how to use it, call me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
With that, RT, what's coming around the corner for you?
Man, getting ready to drop several episodes. Going to drop a whole new list of sponsors here, really, really quick. If by the time this comes out, they're out. I'm excited.
Right.
We're already lining up for 2024 for the Crude Truth. So we're already getting sponsorships now that are starting now, but they're going to be for all 2024, including NAPE.
Isn't that cool?
It is, and then I've got a trilogy of Austin, of people from Austin, recording 3 episodes from the Crude Truth from our Austin studio with the state capitol background. So
A trilogy. Is this like Lord of the Rings?
no, it's a lot cooler. It's like Star Wars. Definitely not Lord of the Rings. Yes, I'm on that side of the trilogy. All right, so everybody out there, bring it on. Star Wars, better trilogy.
Oh, okay.
I said it.
David, what's coming around the corner for you?
Oh, I've got Ron Stein, talking with Ron Stein on the energy question for my next episode, and Lars Carlson, who is the CEO of a company called Ital Volt.
Right.
That is a company, a battery maker that's operating in both Italy and the United States.
Isn't that
It's
great?
a really interesting interview to talk to him about the difference in trying to mount these projects in Europe, one in Europe and one in the United States, and the difference in how things work in the two regulatory environments. He's a really excellent spokesman for his industry.
I started nosing around after you made the emergency scheduling, and and I love that because when I was looking at it, they say their batteries are recyclable, and I want to just visit. I can't wait to hear the podcast because you cannot have gigafactories and gigaplants, and you can't have all the storage if it's not recyclable. You're going to have wind farms, and that. Did you guys see Robert Bryce real quick when he was out there in the boneyard?
Yes. Yes, that was a good one.
I love Robert Bryce, but I'll tell you what, that we need to do a podcast from the boneyard, like get our picture standing on it, like
we should do that. That'd be fun.
We get arrested get ourselves arrested for trespassing.
Yeah, and
Wouldn't be the first time
I was
that's
about to
happened.
say, I was so about to say that. Wouldn't be the first time.
okay, with that, I got lots of great stuff coming around the corner from Sandstone. We have got, oh, by the way, we're going to announce this. We have the draft pages done because of our almighty teamwork here. We're getting great feedback on our podcast, all of our podcasts being good for homeschooling.
Yes.
I'm teasing this. Hold on tight. We're organizing a lot of the material and I'm working on getting kids materials. And then we're going to go out for helping parents teach kids in an organized fashion. Hold tight. You're going to see that one.
Yeah.
With that, send us questions. We want to talk to you.
Yes.
Thanks.